So I asked y'all to present your K-pop opinions that have probably been on your mind for a while, and I guess I gotta thank y'all for submitting your thoughts because, in this video, I'll be doing my best to react to them and give my innocent 2 cents on each of the opinions. Okay, so this was the first thought submitted to me, and I guess I'd do my best to do my research and look into it, then provide a video for it. Thanks for the suggestion. This is one of the most popular opinions I've seen so far, but anyway, as someone who is clearly a huge multi-stan of a lot of groups, I can say that most of Blackpink's music isn't generally for me. I mean, they do have a few hits here and there because to me, most of their songs do sound generic and just basically YG style. And on the topic of them being soloists, if I'm going to be very honest, I kinda prefer them the way they are now. I don't know, but it's just me because everyone gets to express themselves in the way that suits them better, and honestly, I'm just happy for them. And when it comes to Blinks, a few number of them are actually really nice to talk to, but then we have a high number of them are really do piss me off, especially those on Twitter and TikTok. There's literally nothing wrong with being a solo stan as long as you're respectful to the other members of the group, but then, a high number of toxic Blinks who are solo stans are pretty much dumb and crazy because they be hating on the other girls for like literally no reason, which is crazy to me, and I generally just don't find it necessary at all. I mean, let's not forget that K-pop has been around since the early 90s with legendary groups like Hooded, Sex Kais, and Massachusetts paving the way. BTS is undeniably a game changer, but to act like the entire K-pop industry hinges on them is a bit of a reach. Other groups like EXO, Blackpink, and Twice have been vital in expanding K-pop's global footprint too. So, no, K-pop didn't start with BTS, and it definitely won't end with them either. It's okay to be a BTS fan, but let's stop erasing the hard work of others who contributed just as much to the genre's rise. I'm not really one to compare groups with each other, so I wouldn't really say one is better than the other in whatever sense, but to me, Kiss of Life do have bangers I can never get bored of, and G-Idol do too, but I would say their old songs are my fave. So yeah, that's just it. This whole situation is a mess, and I honestly don't care anymore. I felt some sympathy at first, especially with the ill-it plagiarism and Hybe's leaked audit. Hybe deserves hell. But now, their constant demands for Minhee Jin's return feel over the top, and with the latest about Adore listening to them, it's just dragging on. I hope they figure it out, but if they terminate their contract, it'll be financially tough. I personally don't think it's boring per se. I mean, it is a part of their trademark and what makes them, them. And in places like South Korea, a heavy reminder of feminism is really needed. G-Idol do make use of that even though they get hated for promoting feminism in a heavy and tough way. But it would be nice to see them experiment more with other concepts and all, but that's just my opinion. I agree for the ZB1E's opinion, but I guess not everyone can like the same thing after all. And as for Super Junior, I dislike them as people, but they do be having bangers though. People who claim to see an idol's sexuality based on public behavior or moments caught on camera often forget that we're witnessing only a small, carefully curated slice of their lives. Personal moments are heavily edited or erased to fit an image, and it's easy to project onto an idol what we want to believe. That's why it's crucial to avoid making definitive judgments or jumping to conclusions based on assumptions. I did see that particular video of her, and let me just say this simply, I was in utter shock, and it pretty much went viral, and people were reacting to it and saying the same thing. Minors shouldn't debut, especially those that aren't even 16 yet. Aren't we all? I really do pity female idols most times because they really do be suffering from the mouths of those stupid set of homo sapiens that hate on them for the littlest of things. Because tell me why any action made by a pretty female idol automatically gets her labeled as a pick-me, but let a male idol do that same thing and all of a sudden, his praises are being rang through the entire earth. Make it make fucking sense. K-pop is addicting, I know, but those fans that are way too obsessed need to sit their non-existent ass down now. What do you mean you'll defend things like cultural appropriation, problematic behavior, etc. just because they're your faves? Heaven knows how much. I hate these set of people with my whole life. And then they'd come on here talking about some loyalty. Oh, what bullshit. It's funny with how those same OT6 bunch are now pleading to international fans not to boycott and support the boys. Honestly, this sentiment is totally fair. At the end of the day, music is the core of K-pop. You can be the most talented, trained performer on the planet, but if the songs you're putting out aren't hitting the mark, it's hard to stay invested. Like, talent alone doesn't necessarily make a song good. There are plenty of talented idols out there who can sing, dance, and rap their hearts out. But if the music they're given doesn't speak to you, it doesn't matter how many skills they have. Honestly, I totally get you. It's fun to experiment with concepts, but sticking too much to one theme can feel repetitive, especially when the whole group's identity starts feeling boxed in. The darker, supernatural concepts work well for them, but Hyphen has proven they can do other themes too, and that honestly is very much iconic. And yes, Sweet Venom also takes the cake here, guys. I really think they do this on purpose for some reason I might not know, but it also makes no sense, especially when they're aware that bigger artists tend to have a larger fan base than smaller ones, so voting would be a waste of time when you already know who's going to win. Honey, this is high key and honestly, same. It's frustrating, isn't it? There's a certain hypocrisy that's hard to ignore when it comes to some girl group stans calling out boy group stans for misogyny while, at the same time, spreading equally toxic and misogynistic comments toward other girl groups they don't even care for. The amount of hate that groups like ILIT have received, particularly from these fans, is a clear example of this double standard, and those kind of fans that do this should go fuck themselves. Yes, but where would they go? I call those set of people unofficial and unpaid bodyguards. Like, can we all just calm down a little? Yes, it's great to support your faves, but when you're fighting to the death over a group's honor on the internet over something like a music video concept or one bad review, it starts getting creepy. God forbid you say anything negative about a group some fans stan, because suddenly they're on full defense mode. If you mention even a small flaw or controversial topic, you're instantly labeled a hater and flooded with angry comments. Why? These idols aren't perfect, and that's fine. They have highs and lows, so why the obsessive need to defend them at all costs? It's okay to critique, but some fans act like it's a personal attack. You're not wrong in saying that the current voting and streaming culture in K-pop has impacted the quality and creativity of releases. As you said, the shift toward shorter songs has become a trend, likely because it's easier to repeat short, catchy tracks multiple times on streaming platforms, thus maximizing chart performance. This trend might also be a response to the pressure of constantly churning out content for fans who expect frequent releases. But the downside is that songs often feel rushed and less thought out. Voting, on the other hand, has turned K-pop into a popularity contest where fans spend hours streaming and voting, sometimes feeling more like they're participating in a game rather than enjoying music. The results can feel hollow when you know wealthier companies or fanbases can leverage resources to secure votes, making it feel like the most popular, not the most talented, end up at the top. This can skew perceptions of success in the industry, leaving smaller or less financially supported groups struggling to keep up despite having just as much, if not more, talent. Ultimately, the focus on these metrics often distracts from the true artistry and potential of K-pop music. It's not about whether a song is good or innovative anymore, it's about how many streams or votes it can accumulate, leading to a situation where the music can feel like a product designed to hit certain algorithms, rather than something with genuine emotional or artistic value. I totally get where you're coming from. While it's impressive to see idols master dancing, rapping, and stage presence, vocal skills should still be a fundamental part of the package, especially since singing is such a core part of K-pop performances. Even though idols might excel in other areas, being able to hold your own vocally really rounds out the entire performance. Now, regarding Hyun, it's clear she's got potential as a vocalist, but you're right, there's a difference between hitting high notes and doing so with proper technique. It's easy to get carried away with showing off your vocal range, especially with a demanding company like Yeej, but without careful training, those high notes can indeed cause strain. It's great that she's nailing some of the tricky notes, but keeping her vocal health intact should definitely be a priority. Hopefully, with the right guidance and more experience, she'll be able to tackle those high notes more safely. In the long run, it's about balance, hitting those impressive notes while keeping technique in check to avoid damage to her voice. What I think is that Lisa might still be in the process of finding her wow factor that actually matches her abilities. As for her personality, it seems like she's still trying to define her authentic self in the solo spotlight, and that's totally valid. The transition from group to solo artist can be tough, and some idols take longer than others to really open up or shake off that stiffness. Plus, there's a lot of pressure on her to uphold the image of being the best performer in Blackpink, which could feel overwhelming or even make her play it safe at times. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to finding her own voice, something that's uniquely her, without the safety net of Blackpink around her. One thing I've come to understand about K-pop fans is that some of them don't know what to think. It's like their brain cells goes on vacation and does a U-turn. It's like a constant question what so fans really want. And yes, I agree that YG needs to actually put a hand in this and help the girls and not just leave them in the jaws of crazy haters with no better life. Am I the only one who thought it was cute at first until it wasn't because of how overplayed it got on the internet? Okay, but then I'm just really glad the song did well because it got a lot of recognition worldwide, and I'm just so happy for her successful solo. It's laughable when stans think everyone should be treated equally, no matter how much they've improved. Survival shows showcase the best talent, and if some trainees started weaker, they shouldn't expect equal treatment just for improving. If others are more talented, that's who should take the spotlight. The same goes for line distribution. It's about who's the strongest, not just how much someone has grown. If your idol got in the group, be thankful they even made it. Given the fierce competition, it's not mistreatment, it's reality. I guess it's safe to say that I never actually found him funny right from the bat. I always saw him as someone with a big mouth that leaks every time, and although I might not well versed in any news surrounding him, all I can say is that he needs help. I'm very much aware of the mental struggles he goes through, but that doesn't excuse his behavior, and I'm saying that to those who still supports him after everything. The quote, "It's just a joke," will never be funny to me when it comes at the expense of people suffering, and the fact that he went ahead to use a slur again. Man, this is tough. His fans defending these actions as harmless jokes need a reality check. Holding idols accountable isn't cancel culture, it's setting the standard for responsible behavior, especially when their words can have a real impact on vulnerable communities. It's just sad that the girls get hate for each thing they do, and honestly, I wish nothing but the best for them, and Ye people needs to mind their business and leave them alone, especially when they aren't hurting anyone. Yes, JY Puppy on top. Amongst the big three, he's the best CEO, I have to say. He's one of the best dancers. This is no competition, but yeah, I think I find it fun and cute, though, as long as they're not being disrespectful. But then again, you should let people have their harmless fun. Toxic fans should go seek help and stop being embarrassment to the world. Case closed. The truth is that both parties deserved better. Just because a mistreatment might seem bigger than the other doesn't diminish how hurtful it is and downright crazy it is. And yes, I do find it also a tad bit annoying that people go ahead to spam on unrelated posts or whatever, but then I still stand by what I said. They both deserve better. I second this so bad, but it's sad that people still have that mentality that idols are perfect divine beings when they're not. But then I would love to see idols be more open in the future. And that's why I've fully left them to carry their crosses. At this point, all I can say is, whatever happens, happens. We have now come to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have anything to say, please do be respectful in the comments. And with that, thanks for watching and have a great day.